Hello there, you're watching Nightline. I'm Anita. News making the headlines. Matters concerning patriotism should not be politicised. And 6 furniture factories destroyed in flames. We begin with a headlining story. 6 furniture factories went up in flames at Kampung Baru, Sungai Buloh, Selangor on Sunday. State Fire and Rescue Department Director Wan Mat Razali Mon Ismail said his department received a distress call at about 4:48 p.m. and the first team of rescuers arrived at the scene at 5 p.m. to control the fire. The fire has already been brought under control, although firefighters are still at the scene to put it out completely. A man, a foreign national who sustained injuries in the blaze, is receiving treatment at the Sungai Buloh Hospital. At least 4 fire engines from Selayang, Damansara and Rawang stations were mobilised to the scene, along with their department Emergency Medical Rescue Services EMRS teams. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Matters concerning patriotism, such as the National Day logo and theme, should not be politicised. Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi described Perikatan Nasional PN Youth Chief Ahmad Fadli Shari's statement that the 4 states under PN might use a different National Day logo and theme for state-level celebrations as narrow-minded.
Dia ni gila ke apa? Ini bukan soal politik. Sebab soal bendera, soal perayaan Hari Kebangsaan ini adalah acara nasional, ya. Dan saya fikir jangan dipolitikkan perkara ini. Saya fikir dia tak layak jadi ahli parlimen kalau sikap dia terlalu jumut yang begitu.
The Deputy Prime Minister spoke to the media after opening the 2023 Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi Cup football tournament in Putrajaya. Ahmad Fadli was reported as saying that Perlis, Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu, which are ruled by PN, might use the theme Teguh Muafakat Malaysia Sejahtera and logo with elements of the hibiscus, which were launched by PN Youth on Saturday for the state-level National Day celebrations. If some states were to use different National Day logos and themes for state-level celebrations, it would disrupt the national development agenda. In a statement, National Unity Minister Dato' Aaron Agodagang said such a move would deter efforts by the government to ensure and protect the well-being of the people and affect Malaysia's transformation into a developed country. He added, by making an issue out of the National Day logo and theme, such quarters have created a social deficit that could disturb the unity in federalism politics. The minister also stressed that this was very closely related to the cooperation, tolerance and good ties between the federal and state governments, which should be handled wisely. He said leaders at all levels should instead play an important role in enhancing unity in the aspect of good governance at the federal as well as state levels, adding that the diversity of the people in the country should be used as a strength and a symbol of unity to the world. Meanwhile, PN Deputy Chairman Datuk Dominic Lau Ho Chai said he had also opposed the proposal to use an alternative National Day logo and theme in the 4 PN-led states, instead of the logo and theme previously announced by the unity government. Datuk Lau, who is also Gerakan President, said the National Day celebration should not be politicised and that the opposition coalition should not be seen by the Rakyat as trying to do so. Datuk Lau said he had voiced his objections to the proposal during a meeting held by PN Central Leadership. In the meantime, according to geostrategist Azmi Hassan, it was just days ago that newly sworn-in Kelantan Menteri Besar, Datuk Muhammad Nasruddin Daud, said the PN state will take a mature approach to strengthen the relationship between the state government and the federal government for the benefit of all, especially the people. He said that if PN states have a separate logo and theme for National Day, it would not reflect the sincerity of working together for the betterment of the people.
Independence Day celebration or Hari Kemerdekaan, or I would say the establishment of Malaysia, is the one of the best way to instill patriotism, not tied to the political ideology that we have seen that's always happening in the United States. For example, their Independence Day celebration is very closely tied to the political ideology of the state, whether it's a Republican or Democrat state. But I think in Malaysia, we have a national team. And the main reason for a national team is that there won't be any divergence of celebration. So I'm quite sad, angry, and unhappy with the decision taken by Perikatan Nasional or past leadership for the 4 states to have their own kind of celebration. Since I really believe that our Independence Day celebration, formation of Malaysia celebration should demonstrate that we are one nation. So I guess they need to think about it.
Additionally, some felt that having separate themes and logos for states would segregate the people, which would not be good for the future of the country.
In my opinion, this is a very bad move and a bad idea. Indirectly, it creates an unharmonious situation and kind of segregation amongst the people, and it's very dangerous. We may not see the impact or the bad result of our action now, but later, once we realize it's wrong, it's too late to undo or repair it. Why do we want to have the differences? It may be a start of a friction and a broken society. I hope they think twice before it's too late.
The remaining 9 victims from the tragic plane crash in Bandar Elmina last Thursday have already been laid to rest on Sunday noon. Their remains were taken to the Jami' Ar-Rahimiyah Mosque in Klang, Selangor from the Tengku Ampuan Rahimah Hospital located about 2 kilometers away. After the burial rituals at the mosque, the remains were then transported to their respective final resting places for burial. Deepest condolences from the entire Nightline team. Meanwhile, Selangor Police Chief Dato' Hussein Omar Khan said the police have classified the deaths of the 10 victims involved in the accident as sudden deaths. He also said the Air Accident Investigation Bureau, AAIB, will continue its probe. Urging witnesses of the crash to come forward to aid police investigations, he added that police have recorded statements from several dashcam owners who managed to capture video evidence of the fatal incident. The completed identification processing for the victims also confirmed that the sudden crash resulted in 10 victims, namely 2 crew members, 6 passengers, a motorist and a motorcar driver. The families of 7 victims of the aircraft crash qualify to receive Social Security Organisation or SOCSO benefits. According to Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar, he had instructed Perkeso to take proactive measures by checking the qualifying status of the 10 victims involved in the crash under the provision of SOCSO coverage immediately after receiving news of the tragedy. Sivakumar added that checks show that the families of 6 victims qualify under the Employees Social Security Act 1969, Act 4, while another qualified under 2 provisions, one under Act 4 as well as another under the Self-Employment Social Security Act 2017. Under the schemes provided through the Acts, the beneficiaries qualify to receive death benefits of up to 2,000 ringgit and survivors' pension payments. In the meantime, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Rayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah sent personal donations to the families of the victims of the plane crash. According to Istana Negara's social media post, the donations were handed over by the controller of the royal household of Istana Negara, Major General Datuk Zahari Muhammad Arifin. He handed over the donations while visiting the victims' families at Tengku Ampuan Rahimah Hospital and Al-Rahimiyah Mosque in Klang on Sunday. During the visit, Datuk Zahari also conveyed condolences on behalf of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and Raja Permaisuri Agong, Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria, to the families for the sudden departure of their loved ones. Up next, after this break, spacecraft crashes into moon. This and more from the Foreign Front right after this breather. Stay tuned. At least 18 people were killed on Saturday after a bus crashed and caught on fire in Pakistan's Punjab province. The bus collided with a mini truck at around 4:30 a.m. local time while carrying 33 passengers from the southern port city of Karachi to the capital, Islamabad. It was believed that the mini truck was loaded with 3 small tanks of petrol, which resulted in the 2 vehicles catching fire immediately. 18 people died on the spot, while 16 others sustained serious injuries and have been transferred to the local hospital. Fatal road accidents are common in Pakistan, where traffic rules are rarely followed and roads in many rural areas are in poor condition. Still in Pakistan, at least 13 labourers have been killed in an attack in the country's northwestern tribal region when an improvised explosive device, or IED, exploded under their vehicle. According to Deputy Commissioner of North Waziristan, Rahan Khattak, the suspected IED detonated in the Waziristan district, tearing through a truck carrying the workers to a construction site near the Afghan border. No organisation has yet claimed responsibility for the incident. Pakistan has seen a resurgence of attacks by armed groups since last year, when a ceasefire between the outlawed group, Pakistan Taliban, TTP, and the government broke down. Islamabad has blamed Kabul for a string of deadly attacks in Pakistan's tribal region bordering Afghanistan. However, the Taliban administration has rejected Pakistan's allegations. Russia's first moon mission in 47 years failed when its Luna 25 spacecraft spun out of control and crashed into the moon after a problem preparing for pre-landing orbit. The country's state space corporation, Roscosmos, said it had lost contact with the craft at 2:57 local time on Saturday as the craft was shunted into pre-landing orbit. It added that a special interdepartmental commission had been formed to investigate the reasons behind the loss of the Luna 25 craft, whose mission had raised hopes that Russia was returning to the big power moon race. Russia has been racing against India, whose Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft is scheduled to land on the moon's south pole this week, and more broadly, against China and the United States, which both have advanced lunar ambitions. Hurricane Hillary was expected to slam into Southern California on Sunday as a rare tropical storm, unleashing floods, fierce winds and heavy downpour as residents evacuate and first responders brace for water rescues. According to the National Hurricane Center, Hillary, now a Category 1 storm, is churning maximum winds of 136 kilometers per hour as it barrels north-northwest at a speed of 20 meters per hour. The worst of it is expected Sunday into Monday, as the storm is forecast to dump 3 to 6 inches of rain, or even 10 inches in some areas, and whip up damaging winds that can knock power out for many. The hurricane is expected to weaken to a tropical storm. However, it is still likely to pack a powerful punch in the southwest, with catastrophic and life-threatening flooding expected.
Les sinistres découchent. Les bilans provisoires fait état de 7 enfants.
now football, the 2023 Malaysia Cup. Two more second legs of the round of 16 matches took place on Sunday night. Sri Pahang FC claimed a spot in the quarter-finals after defeating Batu Dua FC 5-2 on aggregate. At the Tuanku Abdul Rahman Stadium, Negeri Sembilan FC claimed a 4-2 win over Kelantan United to seal a spot in the last 8 with a 5-2 win on aggregate. OJ Porteria provided the opener for Kelantan 3 minutes into the game before Brazilian Casagrande levelled the score 4 minutes later. Barat Kumar added the second goal for Negeri Sembilan in the 19th minute before Hin Tet Aung scored the third in the 34th minute. Indra Putra Mahyudin managed to close the gap for Kelantan with a penalty kick, but hopes for a comeback for Kelantan soon diminished when Yusuf Ezajari completed the victory for the hosts with a fourth goal in the 86th minute. Still on football, the US League's Cup. Lionel Messi scored early in regulation and converted the first shot in penalty kicks as Inter Miami beat Nashville SC 10-9 on penalties. The Argentine World Cup winner put Miami ahead in the 24th minute with a wonder strike into the top corner, but Nashville tied the game in the 56th minute through Fafa Picault's header off a corner kick to send the game to penalties. 36-year-old Messi, who scored for the 10th time in 7 games since joining Miami, calmly converted the first shot, and it was Drake Callender who made a title-clinching stop in the shootout. This was Miami's first trophy since being formed in 2020, with the club having another chance to reach another final when they take on Cincinnati in the semi-final of the US Open Cup. When we return after this break, Malaysia's automotive landscape undergoing paradigm shift. See you after the break. In an era marked by shifting lifestyles and changing consumer priorities, the automotive landscape in Malaysia is undergoing a paradigm shift as car subscription services are now on the rise. As accessibility takes precedence over ownership, the differences between car subscription plans and traditional car ownership has taken centre stage. Our reporter Alif Yunus has the story. Alif.
Transportation is essential to the evolution of cities as it facilitates the flow of both people and goods and also plays a role in the expansion of economic activities. According to a report, the Road Transport Department (RTD) estimated that there were over 21.7 million active vehicles in the country up to September 2021, while nearly 11.4 million vehicles were listed as inactive or dormant. Nowadays, car subscription services are gaining more traction among Malaysians instead of traditional car ownership, as it allows anyone to use a car without the hassle of buying and maintaining the vehicle. Many considered the notable growth of car subscription services is due to its financial advantages, current market trends and individuals' changing lifestyle. For automotive industry expert Shamsul Yunus, he believes the emerging generations will redefine the value of owning a car by prioritizing more on efficiency and flexibility.
Because a car is one of the least productive things that we buy. It's a very poor return on investment. We buy a car and we use it maybe for 2 hours a day. Out of 24 hours, that means less than 10% of the car's time is actually being used. For most people, it's 2 to 3% of the car's actual time that we use. So what happens to the rest of it? And we've paid for it. There's already steel, aluminum, glass, rubber, all this invested into that and it's being wasted. So subscription and ride-hailing is basically a way to better use that resources. And when we say better use of resources, when we say higher efficiency, it means savings. This is why the younger people, they no longer see the need for a car, because even if I need to pay for Grab or whatever, it's probably going to still be cheaper in the long run and causes me less headache than actual ownership of a car. So that's, I think, one of the major shifts that may happen in the future. It has not happened yet, but it's trending.
On the other hand, Financial Planner Association Malaysia (FPAM) President Alvin Tan Chin Cheng emphasised the need to consider the long-term financial implications of car subscription plans versus traditional car ownership.
I think by doing a evaluation or comparison for both models, besides the common expense, so-called commitment on both sides, one need to take consideration of the car maintenance, the repair, the insurance, the road tax as part of the comparison plan. I think beside that, also bear in mind that nowadays a lot of new car dealers actually do offer a 5 years warranty on their parts and this service maintenance. Yeah. So I think hence that also need to put into consideration. I think last item is actually your car resale value, because by owning a car after your loan period, normally when you sell a car, there's still a little bit of money to take back home.
As the consumer landscape evolves, Alvin also highlights an interesting dimension: the suitability of car subscription services for corporate entities.
Let's say, for example, they are buying a car for their executive, then the car subscription works well for them in a way that those expenses can be actually expensed out. So it's become instead of becoming a depreciation item, it can become an expense item for them.
While having a car is often seen as a necessity, buying a car isn't easy. At the end of the day, consumers need to make a choice that suits their mobility needs but also one that is financially sound. Alif Yunus, TV3.
That concludes Nightline this time around. As we wrap up, let's take a look as UNESCO teams up with local authorities in Basra to renovate old houses known as Shana Shil in the Armenian neighbourhood of the Old City to preserve its historic identity. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for watching and have a good week ahead.